Hello guys and welcome to a gameplay video taking place at Tabletop Game Expo. This is a tournament game where the winner takes a booster. Here we have Pontus playing the Gitrog monster, Randal is playing Selvala Heart of the Wilds, Mikke is playing Brago King Eternal, and Niklas is playing Tasigur of the Golden Fang. Now at Tabletop Game Expo there wasn't any way of making sure that the camera sat in a good position. Therefore I actually had to sit there and hold it continuously throughout the recording. So I have to say sorry in advance that the camera might shake a little bit. After holding hands, Selvala scries 1 and puts it on the bottom. Brago is the starting player. Put an Ancient Den into play and a Mana Crypt. Taps the Mana Crypt and casts a Sorious Signet and passes turn. Tasigur puts Polluted Delta in play, cracks it, and finds a tropical island. Then he casts Mox Diamond, and he discards a land. Then he casts a Fellow's Stone and passes turn. Gitrog monster puts a forest into play, casts Exploration, extra land per turn. He puts a Landware Waste into play, taps it for green, lose a life, and casts Elves of Deep Shadow. Selvala puts a forest into play, an Elvish Mystic and pass turn. In the end of Selvala's turn, Brago casts Enlightened Tutor for 1 white mana, and it resolves. And he chooses Rest in Peace and puts it on top of his deck. A card that neither Tasigur or Gitrog monster is happy to see. He puts an island into play. At the beginning of his upkeep he forgot to roll for the crypt, so rolls for it now. Even he takes 0 damage, and he won the roll. 0 damage from the crypt. And for 4 mana he casts his commander Brago, and he passes turn. Tasigur puts Windswept Heath into play, cracks it, paying 1 life, and searches his library for a forest. He finds Bayou. And he casts Vampiric Tutor. He loses 2 life from the Vampiric Tutor. He puts an unknown card on top of his deck. And then for 6 mana, delving 4 cards in his graveyard, he casts Tasigur of the Golden Fang and Deathrite Shaman. And then he passes turn. Gitrog's turn. He puts a Forbidden Orchard into play. He casts Sylvan Library and passes turn. Selvala puts a basic forest into play and casts the commander Selvala. And then Randal passes turn. And in Randal's end step, Brago casts Mystical Tutor. And Brago finds Fabricate, a 3 mana cost sorcery that can tutor for an artifact and put that artifact into his hand. And as everyone knows that he already have Rest in Peace in his hand, everyone is theory crafting that he could assemble the Helm of Obedience together with Rest in Peace, cast Fabricate and find Helm of Obedience, then cast both Helm of Obedience and Rest in Peace, and then he can start killing players 2 each turn. Now if Brago attacks, he will flicker and exile Helm of Obedience, and then it will re-enter untapped to exile another player's deck, so he could potentially kill 2 players if he assembled the Helm and the Rest in Peace combo. He taps his Mana Crypt and casts Sabo's Web and draws a card. Then Brago proceeds to his combat step. He attacks Gitrog for 2 damage. He then chooses to flicker Brago, Sabo's Web, and his Mana Crypt. He draws a card because Sabo's Web re-enters the battlefield. He remembered that he forgot to roll for his Mana Crypt and rolls odd, he takes damage. He takes 3 damage. Then he puts a non-basic land into play. Then he casts Fabricate by tapping an island and his Mana Crypt. And yes, he finds the Helm of Obedience, a 4 mana cost artifact. And then he passes turn holding his Death Cannon in his hand, ready to cast it next turn, having 3 mana available for interaction during their other opponent's turns. Now Tasigur have drawn the card that he did tutor for with Vampiric Tutor. He taps his Tropical Island and Bayou and Fellow's Stone, 3 mana total, and he casts Time Twister. No response, it resolves. A perfect way to counter and shuffle away the Rest in Peace Helm of Obedience combo. Brago responds with Cyclonic Rift, targeting the Tasigur, sending it to his hand. This will send Tasigur to his hand, and after Time Twister resolves, it will go into his deck, and therefore it goes to the command zone instead. And then everyone shuffles and draws new 7. After drawing a hand of 7, the Tasigur player Niklas puts a Misty Rainforest into play. He cracks it and finds Underground Sea. He then casts Exploration and puts a Scalding Tarn into play and cracks it as well. After thinking a bit, he lets the Water Grave come into play untapped, and he pays 2 life for it. Then he used the Water Grave and Underground Sea to cast Copy Artifact and copies Fellow Stone. Then he passes turn to Pontus, the Gitrog monster. He pays 4 life and draws an extra card with his Sylvan Library. Then he plays a Forest, land for turn, 5 mana, he loses a life because of Deathrite Shaman. He gives a spirit to Niklas, the Tasigur player, and he casts the Gitrog monster. The Froggy Horror resolves. Then he plays Polluted Delta, secondary land for turn, and Mana Confluence, 3rd land for turn. He cracks the Polluted Delta, trigger Gitrog monster. He draws a card, and he finds Bayou. Then Selvala points out that the Gitrog monster was the biggest power creature that entered the battlefield. That means that Selvala triggers and gives a card draw to the Gitrog monster Pontus. For 1 black mana he casts Imperial Seal. He puts a card on top of his deck and then passes turn to Selvala, who has the smallest board state on the table. Randall puts Cavern of Souls into play and say Elves. Then he casts Wild Growth of one of his forests. He casts Soldering. He casts Hunted Troll, 4 mana 8/4 that will enter the battlefield and give a player 4 blue flying fairies. But also this is the highest power on the battlefield, that means that Selvala will trigger and draw a card for Randall. But also that Selvala will now tap for 8. So he has 8 green mana in his mana pool. He casts Wirewood Symbiote. He can return an elf to his hand to untap a creature. Now he has 7 green mana in his mana pool. He activates Wirewood Symbiote to return an Elvish Mystic and untap Selvala, and then taps Selvala once more to add 8 more green mana to his mana pool. He then casts a 5 mana green spell that will draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures he controls. He will now draw 8 cards. He totally have 9 green mana left in his mana pool. He plays Uncaged Memiari for free, meaning that he will search his deck for a creature on CMC 1. He finds Quarium Ranger, 1 green mana. He casts the Quarium Ranger for 1 green mana. He casts this spell to give the Troll +4/+4. He activates Quarium Ranger's ability to untap Selvala by returning a forest. He can't use this ability more than once each turn. Then he casts this spell to give the Troll an additional +4/+4. Now it's an 16 power. He activates Selvala and gains 16 mana in his mana pool. He casts this green spell to sacrifice the Troll and draw cards equal to its power. He will now draw 16 cards. Currently he has 15 mana in his mana pool. He casts this new green tutor with X4 and finds Tamer Sabertooth. He casts Invigorate, gives Baral 4 lives and gives Tamer Sabertooth +4/+4. Then he casts Great Oak's Guardian that will untap all his creature and give all his creature +2/+2. He taps Selvala and adds 10 more mana to his mana pool. So now he has a combo where he could loop Quarium Ranger and Wirewood Symbiote with Tamer Sabertooth to untap Selvala over and over. The trick is this, that you can only activate Wirewood Symbiote's ability once each turn, but if he returns Wirewood Symbiote and recast it, he can activate Wirewood Symbiote again. Now, Wirewood Symbiote ability lets you return an elf to untap another creature, so he will return Quarium Ranger to his hand, then activate Tamer Sabertooth's ability to return Wirewood Symbiote, then recast both creatures, and then activate Wirewood Symbiote's ability to untap Selvala, and Selvala will then add 10 more mana to his mana pool. The total cost for all of this is Selvala's ability of 1, Tamer Sabertooth of 2, cast Quarium Ranger and Wirewood Symbiote for 2 mana, a grand total of 5, netting 5 mana each activation, gaining infinite mana. He could return Great Oak Guardian over and over to make all his creatures infinite, but he can't really attack with that. And the trick is this, that he actually wants to draw cards from his deck. And if Tamer Sabertooth is the biggest creature on the table, then Selvala won't trigger. So what it does now is that it casts Survival of the Fittest, discard a card to search his deck for a 1-cost 12/12. This will now trigger and draw a card with Selvala. Then he casts Eternal Witness to return the 12/12 to his hand. So now he can loop Eternal Witness with Tamer Sabertooth and draw his entire deck with the Phyrexian creature of 1 mana that is a 12/12. So now he has infinite green mana and he has drawn his entire deck. And let's actually have Randall explain what he's gonna do from now.
Okay, so this is the Eternal Witness. With infinite mana and your deck in your hand, pair using Selvalla's ability and bouncing a high enough powered creature. With the Tamer Sabertooth, you first loop the Eternal Witness with Beast Within to remove all the other players' permanents and give them 3/3s instead. And then you loop Eternal Witness and Somberwald Stag to kill all of those 3/3s. You do that by bouncing the Eternal Witness with the Tamer Sabertooth. After that has happened, you play 7 transient spells and shuffle them into your library with the Primal Command. And then you loop Memory Jar, and in the correct sequence, Memory Jar, Primal Command, and Eternal Witness in a way where you draw out all of your opponents by you shuffling in 7 cards with the Primal Command, and so you always have a deck of 7 to draw from, and your opponents has no deck after the loop.
So a big shout out to Randall and his monogreen Selvala for winning on turn 3. Now I hope you enjoyed the gameplay video, even though the quality was a little bit iffy. But don't worry, we're probably not gonna be recording in that place for a very long time, probably in the next year or so. Now I actually plan on making gameplay videos into this channel's main focus. Currently I've been doing mostly deck tech videos, but gameplay videos is something I plan to be doing mostly. I've currently been setting up a studio that is going to be able to produce gameplay videos here at home at great quality, with good sound, video and no shaking camera at all. Now don't worry though, all the deck tech videos and the educational tutorials and the card review videos are still gonna happen. None of that is going away. And until then, take care guys.